The slap echoed across the room, sharper and louder than I thought possible. My mother-in-law's hand struck my face, leaving my cheek burning and my dignity wounded. Before I could even process what had happened, my sister-in-law leaned in, sneered, and spat at my feet, her eyes filled with cruelty. I stood frozen, not from weakness, but because I had sworn to myself that I would never create chaos in my husband's family. I had believed again and again that patience, kindness, and silence would eventually win their acceptance. But standing there, trembling, my face burning with shame, I realized silence would never change them. They wanted me humiliated. My mother-in-law's voice cut through the room. "You are nothing. Do you understand? My son deserves someone better than you, someone who brings pride, not disgrace." Shame. That word had haunted me since the day I married into their family. I wasn't part of their refined world. My parents were simple, hard-working people, and that was enough for them to see me as unworthy. My sister-in-law laughed mockingly. "Look at her, standing there like a helpless puppy. Pathetic. Do you really think we'll ever accept you? You'll never belong here." Her words weren't new, but what followed was. The slow creak of the front door opening filled the room. Light spilled in from the hallway, and the atmosphere shifted instantly. My mother-in-law's face drained of color. My sister-in-law froze mid-smile, because standing in the doorway was the one man they feared, my father. They had never truly met him. They only knew his reputation. A quiet man and a retired army officer, respected, feared when angered. They had mistaken his silence for weakness. As he stepped forward, his eyes cold and steady, their mistake became clear. "What," he asked calmly, "did you just do to my daughter?" Silence swallowed the room. My mother-in-law stammered, "We were only—" "Only what?" my father interrupted. "Only striking her? Only spitting on her? In my home, even my enemies' daughters are treated with dignity, and here you disgrace yourselves by abusing your own son's wife." Fear replaced their arrogance. My father didn't raise his voice. He didn't need to. My husband rushed downstairs, alarmed by the noise. He stopped when he saw my tear-stained face and the mark on my cheek. His eyes flicked between my mother, his sister, my father, and me. "What happened?" he whispered. "They hit her," my father said, "and you let it happen." Those words hurt more than the slap. My husband's face crumbled. "I didn't know. You chose not to know," my father said quietly. "A man's first duty is to protect his wife. If he fails at that, he has no right to be called a husband." Tears filled my eyes. These were the words I had buried inside for years. I had waited for my husband to stand up for me. He never did. He always said, "They'll change, just give it time." That time was over. My mother-in-law snapped, trying to regain control. "You have no right to speak to us like this in our house." "You lost that right when you touched my daughter," my father replied. The silence afterwards was heavy. My sister-in-law muttered something, unable to meet his gaze. My mother-in-law looked away, her strength fading. Then my father turned to me, his voice soft. "My daughter, you don't have to live like this. You have a home where you are loved and respected. You can leave with me now." My husband turned pale. He reached for me. "Please don't go. I'll fix this. I promise. I'll stand up for you. Just don't leave." I searched his eyes, hoping to find the man I once trusted, but years of silence weighed more than his sudden promise. My father extended his hand, steady and patient. In that moment, I chose my dignity. I stepped forward and looked at my husband. "If you mean that, prove it right now, not later." My husband trembled. His mother hissed in warning. His sister shook her head, but he straightened. "If you ever touch her again," his voice shaking but firm, "you will lose me. She is my wife. She deserves respect." Gasps filled the room. My mother-in-law burned with anger. My sister-in-law stormed out. But everything had changed. For the first time, my husband chose me. My father nodded slightly. That was enough. The battles didn't end that day, but the power they once had over me was gone. They knew there was a line they could never cross again, and so did I. I learned that silence is not strength when it costs your self-respect. I learned that sometimes love must be challenged, and I learned that behind me stood a father who would walk through any door to remind me I was never alone. The turning point wasn't the slap, it wasn't the spit. It was the moment the door opened and light returned, carrying the strength I had forgotten. Because their true fear was never my father, it was that I was no longer afraid of them.